Hello, Heathens.
Hello, Athens.
We are talking about aging today.
Oh, such a favorite subject.
Yeah, I was going to say I was excited about this one because I feel like people that are aging need more support or understanding of the process.
Well, we're all aging.
True, I guess it'd be more like people past their 30s, I feel like is when the aging process starts, at least I've noticed has starts hitting people
hmm
and how it starts feeling a lot different and like with all of the stuff out there, it starts hitting them really hard, I feel like.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like your body change and uh even how society changes the way they treat you and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I found a lot of stuff about that, how like I never really focused or have like thought about how we push the anti-aging propaganda and like with
hmm
products and like the new waves of looking younger, like even just the saying like 65 is the new 50 and things like that. And it's all
Yeah.
about looking younger and like doing everything you can to be younger. And like reading some of this today, I was like, man, we're really doing an injustice to people. I feel like making them feel bad about aging when it's normal.
Right, but it's like if we don't feel it make you feel bad, we won't make you spend your money.
That's that's true. That's so true.
hmm
I didn't think about that either.
We in the society, at least from my view, is that we honor this like youth kind of thing. And even if you look at it as in like look at how we uh look at how we treat young children. It's
Yeah.
always like, oh my God, you're so cute. Oh my God, no matter what you did, it's fine. I'll pick it up, I'll clean it up, all this stuff. And then you go into middle school. Everybody hates everybody. And everybody has a big spicy hormone surge. So not only do
Yeah.
they hate everybody else, they hate themselves, right? And
Right.
you went from everybody thought you were cute, and no matter what you did, you were still, it was okay. There was lots of patience involved, to you don't know your body, you don't know who you are, you don't know, nobody's nice to you anymore. It's a rough go. And then you go to high school, and high school is a little bit better than middle school. You're a little more like, all right, so this is where we're going. I'm gonna like, but high school's still hard, right?
Yeah.
Like, not everybody is like, even if you were the captain of the cheerleading team, like, you still had problems and pressures that you had to like. So the perspective there is that we can't always think like if I was a little goth gremlin chick, then and the head of the cheerleader team, like you still have your own set of pressures and problems that you're dealing with. They just look different, right?
Right.
Well, and then we go into, and as what I found is that even out of high school, it's like, even the older I get, and I'm almost 50, I still feel like we're in high school.
I would agree with you. Yeah. It's crazy how like that part really never changes the older you get. It just the only way it changes is who you surround yourself with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you still have like that person that like, I mean, you get a little more freedom and choice. Like, like I get to choose you and like you can hang around me and like that's okay. But like you still have these obligations of like my work or my high school just turned into work, and it's the same democratic, same politics, same everything else. Like you
Same
still got,
drama.
Johnny over here that's a bully. He just learned not to use his fists anymore.
Yes.
Like he's
Yes.
he's gotten a little better at his bullying techniques, and now it's called motivation, or you know.
Yeah, it's like he's gotten a little sneakier. It's not so right in your face like
hmm
bullying. It's like that backhanded compliment kind of bullying.
Right, or the passive aggressive, like, oh, that looks good, like,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because like I always have a hard time figuring out how to navigate waters sometimes, like especially because we are transforming and we know this kind of stuff is like, just recently I was talking to a lady and she was like, I don't want to room with this person. And I'm like, and I thought about that and I'm like, would I want to room with a person that I didn't like? Even, and I guess it would depend on like where we were going and blah, 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 how much I would put up with whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel I'm pretty patient. And then we get, but it's like, am I standing up for my rights? Or am I dismissing something that I need to kind of like look at and see about myself, right? Like, so that's where it gets a little hazy for me because I'm like, how do I, and then
Yeah.
do I accept them for exactly who they are? Do you know, like,
I feel like it's a little bit of both, right? Because some people do just suck and aren't just a mirror, you know?
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
not to be mean, it's just to be like, it's true. If you look at most of, they say it so black and white, like everybody in your life is a mirror. And it's like, well, sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's them and you're actually meant to mirror them. And it's not but it's hard to decipher that. Like, it's
yeah,
so hard to decipher that sometimes.
yeah, because it's really like, I always am like, okay, so what is this teaching me? Is it teaching me patience? Is it teaching me to look at myself? Am I being like this? Um, there's a whole gambit of questions that I go through in my head when somebody really starts to bother me. And then I also judge the person that like is having those bothers. And I'm like, okay, so like, to me, you're like, well, you should just like look into like who that is and why it bothers you. So I don't know. It's a definitely like we just entered the element of air, so I really am probably just overthinking this is what it is.
Well, and I feel like that's what comes with personal work, though, and we talk about that often with each other. I don't know if we talk about it enough on the pod, but like it's hard when you're somebody that's working on yourself and you're constantly questioning everything, and then the questions get questioned, then it's just can be this rabbit hole that it's why community is so important. We've talked about this before too, where it's
Hmm.
like sometimes you just need other people to like bounce it off of for them to be like, what? Why are you what do
Right.
you've gone too far. You've
You're
you've
like,
asked way too
but
far past the point.
okay,
You're now in a maze of questions. We got to bring it back to the
I'm
start.
I'm lost.
Yeah,
I'm lost in my
seriously.
questions.
um yeah, so I feel like I was looking today a lot about like what do I want to say, people in their like 50s, 60s, 70s, because I feel like this is where I notice a lot of the aging problems too, where it's like all of a sudden we're 45, 50 years old comparing ourselves to a 21-year-old.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. And I see this all the time. And every time that it happens, I'm like, why are you doing that? That's not fair to yourself or them. Like, or like
Hmm.
just you in general. It's like always so. This is a hard. I was really excited to talk about this because I feel like I see this a lot in clients where it's like we get stuck in this part that's like almost like an anti-aging lie at the risk of sounding like an extremist or whatever. I'm like,
All right.
it's the anti-aging lying propaganda. And it's like, dude, wake up. You don't look older because you're not working out enough and you're not doing enough. You're not doing hard enough. You're not drinking enough mineral water. Or you're not going to yoga. Or you're not doing this or that. It's like,
Oh my God. Yes.
you can't stop the progression of time. And
Oh,
somehow it's turned into your body being less than or something that we need to work hard to fix.
oh yeah. Like basically, if I'm not skinny enough or if I'm not young enough, I'm not going to get what I need because people aren't looking at me or paying attention to me. I looked at something called pretty privilege.
Oh, yeah, I've heard
And
about
I was
this.
like, so they were talking about how like these quote unquote Karens are they were really pretty when they were younger and they had pretty privilege. People would open the door for them. people would come over and talk to them. They wanted to know them. They would come get their numbers, like that kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
And then when they get older, people stop paying attention, right? And then they don't understand why. So it's this whole like, I was like, whoa, I can see that. I can see that whole like, because that's what that feeling kind of feels like to me is like, I'm not enough and I'm scared I'm not going to get what I need.
It's like a personal failure.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
failing because you've done this thing your whole life and now you're not doing it anymore because you don't look like you did when you were in your 20s or even 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bizarre. It's bizarre to watch this like eat away at people, honestly, you guys. Like it's sad. It makes me sad sometimes because I'm like, some of the people that I think are the prettiest are what some would consider older women.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, some people with their wrinkles, their hair, whatever it is, some of those people are what I find the most attractive person. Where I'm like,
Absolutely.
dude, you're fucking stunning.
Yeah. Or even like interesting looking. And I don't mean that in like a bad way. I mean it completely in a beautiful way. Like I love, because you know, like my Venus is in Aquarius. So I love that like unique, like exotic kind of look. And I think we all can get to that point, right? Like,
Yeah,
so it's like watching women really shift into their power. And I really think that's what it is. Like, I think my theory, I guess, in my head that I've been kind of like working on for the past couple of years is that um as you age, you can tell, I can tell by how much a person has went through by how old they look.
mm,
So like if you're 21 and you look 28, you've been through some shit, right? Like, or
yeah,
if like, you know, when you turn 40, I really think whatever thoughts that you have been thinking in your head for the past 40 years are now really starting to manifest through like your skin and your like body and stuff like that too. Like, you know, especially because I am 46, right? So, and I look at people and I'm like, oh God, like, and then I realize how they think. And I know that's only just one part of like a whole ingredient list of things that happen, right? Because
right.
also like if I'm thinking bad thoughts, then I'm smoking and drinking and like, you know, trying not to feel these feelings that I feel. This is
Mm-hmm.
where a lot of drug habits come up because we're tired of running those thoughts. We just
Mm-hmm.
need them to stop. They've been running for 20 years. Like they just got to stop, right? So we see this like patterns and stuff. I think 40 and 50 is really where you start to see those patterns come up because you're not 20 anymore and you're not cute. Like you being throwing up in the, you know,
The
in the
club bathroom.
party. Yeah, like that's not cute because you're not 21. Like, oh, that's cute.
Right.
Like you don't know enough. Like, but now you're 46 and you're like, these are
You're
my
like,
choices.
mm,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hate myself tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. In the next 5 days, really, is what it ends up being.
You know what you were making me think of that popped in my head that I just in my head I was like, wow, that's fascinating. I didn't even think about that when I was thinking about all of this, is that I wonder if you guys have realized that the beauty trend right now is to look hollowed out. And that is the one thing I hear most women complain about is as you get older, you lose the elasticity, you're not as supple anymore, you're starting to hollow out. And it's like, that's the beauty trend right now, is having hollowed out cheeks, and even darkening under your eyes now a thing where it's like the hollowness of a face is beautiful.
Oh, so we're supposed to look like we're dead? This goes along
Y-
with our theme.
Yeah, it's like still have fresh skin, but like
Yeah,
hollowed
but
out
that
cheekbones and
that fresh dead look.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm like, I was just thinking about that because I'm like, God dang, I can't tell you how many times like that's probably why I find beauty, like what I find beauty in too is when that happens and your cheekbones are like so there, and I'm like, damn, you've got good cheekbones. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's it makes me I just realized that I'm like, it's because that's part of the beauty trend is having like these high, really pronounced cheekbones and the divot in your cheeks. And I'm like, dang, do we I didn't realize that. So I wonder if anybody else has, because that's weird. Um, I found this quote as well that was going along with what you were saying that I found really cool because I was like, oh, this is so true. Because I even notice it now about to be turning 30. Just so the quote's from an author and activist. I've not heard of her before, but her name is Glennon Doyle. Ever heard of her? But she said, aging is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Aging is unbecoming all the women I thought I was supposed to be and breathing for God's sake. Aging is like being one of those Russian nesting dolls and peeling off costumes one at a time till I'm left with that little solid doll, just that one, nothing too big or wobbly. And I believe that spiritual slash official explanation for a wise woman aging is look at her. She has runneth out of F's to give. She goes, beloveds, in
Yeah,
your 20s and 30s, it gets better. And I was like, oh, I love that. Cause like that's how I feel, even just
it's
being
true.
almost to 30. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
dang man, shedding out of my 20s is going to be so great because like my 20s had a lot of hard lessons in it, which is
Mm-hmm.
great. But I'm like, getting older is so fun. It's like, especially when you're doing the work, I'm like, I'm so unbecoming, but becoming at the same time. That's like the
Yeah,
best way to
yeah,
say it. And I'm like,
yeah. It's
huh.
true because you're unbecoming of who they thought you were going to be or who you thought you were going to be, right?
Yeah.
And then you're becoming, I was like, I can't wait to get old. We've been dealing with my grandma and she's been in another hospital and things are going well. She's 92 though. Like, girl, I can't wait till I'm 92. Not only do I have to have a person with me that has to be there just in case I fall and split my head open.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God they're gonna help me out of my car. Like
Yep.
I am like literally, I'm like, and then I get to sit around and think crazy shit, which I already do. So just imagine what the crazy shit I'm gonna come up at that point.
Yeah, and
Fuck
it's
me,
even
dude.
more
Can't.
accepted because
Do you
you're
know
old,
how
so you're
much of
allowed to
a
be that.
right? No fucks given at 92,
None.
right? Like none. Like you'll fart and it doesn't even fucking matter because like you're 90 fucking two, right?
Yeah, like my grandma's 76, I believe. She already is at that point of no fucks to give. She's doing what she wants. She's wearing
Yeah.
what she wants. My
Yeah.
grandma does what you were just talking about. Sorry to out your grandma, but it's true. She just doesn't give a fuck anymore. And she's
Uh-uh.
like, fuck it, dude. Why? Why do I care? None of my friends care. She's like, nobody cares. And I'm like,
Yeah, nobody cares.
thank you. You're right. Nobody does
Yeah.
care.
Which thank God, because I care so fucking much about everything that it's so nice to finally let that shit go. Like, oh my God. Like, I have this perfect balance of like, I give all the fucks over here.
Yep.
Like, I've been working a lot about abandonment issues, right? And it's like, I give all the fucks over here, all of them, because I don't want you to leave ever. So I do all the people pleasing and everything for everybody because I don't ever want you to abandon me. And then over here, is the child we cannot rule. She gives no fucks
Yeah, none.
at all.
Not one.
Right. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's exhausting holding both of them up.
Yeah. And so eventually, the one that doesn't care is going to be like, oh, are you tired? Cool. I'm taking over.
Right, exactly. I was waiting for that shit.
Right. It's like, what you were saying is like also goes along with this other thing I saw where they were saying how, like, basically, we hear of elders feeling disoriented or invisible and unimportant, right? But this person had begged the question of like, what if I said they're aging without a map? And that there's a treasure map and in this stage of life and there's opportunities to extend emotions, creativity, and spiritual development. And I was like, so basically what you're telling me, everything that I want to do is I look so forward to being old and not having
Mm-hmm.
shit else to do other than explore more emotions and be more creative and have like all the time to do all the spiritual development because nobody's gonna care.
Yeah, because nobody cares. I know that's the thing. Is I'm like, and I'm also looking at my grandma like, you're missing the opportunity to read everything
Everything.
because you have time to. If I want to go outside and stare at a bug for 3 hours, they might put me in a home eventually. But like, at least I'm out there
No, we won't.
contemplating.
Trinity won't. She's like, yeah, that's my fucking mom.
All right.
She's actually fine.
She's pondering a ladybug. It's fine. I'll
She's
tell you
probably
about it
talking to it
later.
at this point.
Yeah.
You become the bug whisperer.
I'm like, hold on. It's telling me the secrets of life.
Right. I'm like, I thought about this and I was like, I want to suggest that we start looking at like this whole ageist aging system where it's like a bad thing to age is a sickness. Like we look at a wound
Yeah.
for trauma. We look
Yeah.
at this like a sickness that we don't want. We don't
Mm-hmm.
want that. Who wants to be looking at
Mm-hmm.
their face in the mirror and being like, oh, my eyes, I have crow's feet and I have wrinkles because I laughed too hard. And like, God, I'm just so sad that like I've spent my life laughing. So now I have laugh lines.
Yeah. Well, and I always tell women this. I go, you know what? Especially because I feel like a lot of people, a lot of women when they age, and if they're single and they're not married and they haven't fulfilled their life or whatever, they're still looking for something. And they're like, well, I'm going to be old and then these guys aren't going to want me. And I'm like, that's because you're looking at 20-year-old guys. That's in our head. We don't even realize that we're doing it. Because like, you're like, oh, I'm not attractive anymore to an 18-year-old.
Because we're comparing ourselves to our 20-year-old bodies.
Right, right. And I'm like, guess what? The guys got older too, by the way.
Also, you gotta like want yourself. How could you expect
Yeah.
somebody else to like you when you don't even like your damn self?
Well, it's the whole thing of like they got older too and they give no fucks. Like the gross ones
Yeah.
want a 20-year-old, and hey, that's fine if you want that. That's okay. Like I am not here to shame anybody. But like that whole thing of like we forget as women that we that the guys age too. And they're not
Right.
looking, they're tired too. We're all tired. We all just want to nap together and maybe, sometimes make out, but like
Just
tired.
drink coffee and talk
Just
about
drink
the
a
weather.
lot of right. I want to go. I want to like I like the fact that I can still hang with you. I like the fact that I can go home and take a nap. I like the fact that I can like, you know what I mean? Like just it's like whatever.
It's a good balance.
It is a good balance.
It's like also when in thinking about this, I'm like, damn, I have to admit it to you guys, honestly, turning 30, I'm so glad that I'm not like 20 anymore, 19, 18. Because like when I was in high school, I had, because like we did this thing, I had like 3% body fat. Okay. And the only
Mm-hmm.
reason I'm saying this is because in high school, I thought I was fat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gone through its waves of body dysmorphia. But I have to say, where the point that I'm at now, it's kind of like I'm so comfortable, I literally don't care anymore. And don't get me wrong, I still have moments where it hits me, right? Because like who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't? But that's like the plague of body dysmorphia. And I try to fight it because honestly, like I've never felt so damn comfortable in my own skin to where I'm like, it's
Mm-hmm.
just gonna get better for me. And as it changes, I'm gonna have to like keep in mind that like, dude, you're not 20 anymore. You're 30, you're 40, or whatever it is, and it's like,
Well,
so
I've learned to really hone back about because I don't have the ideal body shape, right? Like I am very beautiful and I am not like trying to, but I don't have the ideal body shape, right? But like what I do have is, my feet that hold me up every day of my life, my calves that are strong and they walk and they run, and my thighs that like enable me to get up and down, all this stuff, my organs that work very well. Like we forget about this, like we're very superficial, and that's easy to
mhm,
because that's what we see the most part. But like, my lungs that can breathe in air and gives me oxygen and magic, and like, my stomach that is like processing the food for energy for my meat suit to actually, you know,
do the
do
thing.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My brain. My brain is amazing. And the stuff that I like come up with are crazy and beautiful and chaotic and all that kind of stuff. And I think we really miss the mark because we're so much more than just my face
Yep.
or my tits.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, dude, is imagine like you retire and you have all this time. I can't even imagine all the things I would try to create. I do you know how many Bob Ross paintings I do just specifically that because I can't I just want to sit down and follow one and try it and like all the books I could read and all
Mm-hmm.
the how-to videos of things I've always wanted to try doing that I could learn to do and try. And as you get older, sure, your body isn't as strong, but it's like you just pick and choose what you can and can't do. And if you try it and you realize you can't do it, well, fuck it, you try something else.
Well,
And
that's
I'm like,
exactly it, right?
oh, I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, I really am. And then, there's a lot of like things that end up being like scary along with aging. And, I think that we forget that, um, I talked to my one client who had a like heart attack and they actually had to go in and I didn't even think about surgery being like PTSD kind of forming as well, too, but it makes sense, right? But I was talking to her because she's in her 60s, I believe. And I go, and she was like, and this is, months after the actual, like, even a year after the surgery. And she had a nice little scar and stuff. And she was saying that it was still puffy and red. And I knew it was something energetic that was happening
Mhm.
there. And I was like, start talking to your body better. If your car breaks down, you take it to the shop, you get it fixed, and then you drive it, right? Your body didn't fail you. It just happens, right? Like, and more, what I see is yes, diet is important. Yes, all of that physical man of world stuff is important. Supplements, food, exercise. Yes. But also your emotions. Like your emotions, like my grandma's in the hospital because her brother just died. She had a heart attack. Like, like it's so interesting to me that like the energy too of that kind of stuff.
I wrote something very similar down to like that you wow blah, 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 words are hard. I wrote something very similar down too, and it was like that there has to be like a reevaluation stage that happens for us. And some people just miss that opportunity where it's like we start having to look at the old roles that we had, attitudes, regrets, these identities we really had been with that no longer serve our development and where we're going. And we
Right.
have to have this reevaluation and like and with that there can be a grieving period, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we let that go, it's kind of like I saw somebody said it's like the caterpillar stage and you're not yet the butterfly, even though you thought you were. And it's like once you get through all of that, then you can do this new beginning and like get this new sense of self and this passion and purpose and vision where you could really get a lot because you have all this experience behind it too.
Right. Right. There, I feel like too, somebody said something to me yesterday because, I've been all in this death and dying kick right now. And what
Which we
was it?
love.
I'm I'm leaning right into it. So she was saying about we were talking about either her grandpa or something like that, and um oh, her grandpa's alive, and he was like, "I've lived a really good life," or whatever. A long good life, and she was saying it more like, "Oh, grandpa, like don't say, like he was trying to like exit out or whatever," and
Oh,
it's
he
like,
was like
no,
saying his goodbyes by saying that.
yeah, 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 and I was like. And she was like, "Oh, grandpa, like, don't say that kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, you know what? If I can say that at that age, I did good, right? That's all I want.
Yeah.
I want to look back on my deathbed and go, I did it. I did it. I made it here, right?
Some of my favorite videos on TikTok are when they ask old people, like, what's your advice in life and things like that. And like almost every time somebody answers that, like an elder answers that, it's such simple things that we forget, like love more,
Mhm.
things like that.
Mhm.
Like try to tell people you love them more, or like just simple things that like we don't think about because there's all this other stuff going on all the time. And I love
Mhm.
those videos because I'm like, dang, you've gotten to a point in your life where it's like something so simple. I realize I'm like, that's what I'm doing now. And it's like, just like beautiful, like that butterfly effect moment of like, holy crap, like you just need to love more. You need to do more things you enjoy, get outside more, things like that, where I'm like, I love
Yeah.
it.
Well, and that's the thing is like I think we make life so complicated sometimes. And like we don't have enough to worry about with like, making rent and, doing stuff, making sure that the people in our life are well taken care of and like standing up for ourselves and trying to make ourselves not be, miserable all the time. And like with the whole aging, like it's just another layer of shit that I've got to carry and worry about. And it's like it's it's already hard enough. And if we could just chuck that one off, it would be nice.
Yeah, there was these two questions that like made me think like that, where it was like, do you want to participate in a system that's designed to oppress you still at that age? And do you want to
Yeah,
participate in a system that's constantly telling our young people that their bodies aren't good enough? Because
all the
I sure
time.
the hell don't.
Ah, no, because goddamn, I mean, your body is good enough. Our bodies are, if you think about it, our bodies are fucking amazing, right?
Yes. Yes. And your aging body and face are beautiful and you are worthy of
Mm-hmm.
love, even from yourself. You might not
Mm-hmm.
feel like you looked like you did, but guess what? Your body's still going. It's doing
Right,
everything you need it to do.
right. You gotta keep using it. You gotta keep moving. You gotta keep learning. I think like, I don't know, I guess from my perspective, like my grandma and grandpa, like once they retired, like my grandma just kind of sits in her house and watches her stories and stuff like that. And, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but like from like I have realized that I don't necessarily want to do that. So everything that I'm doing now with religion and with witchcraft or ritual magic, like I feel like it's something that I will never complete in any lifetime, right? Like it's something that is always continuously moving forward. There's always another level to be on or that kind of thing. It's always evolving, and that's something that'll never end.
Right. And it's so cool to think about where you're going to be in another 20 years and that, where it's like,
Mhm.
one of my clients is she's a really good example for this. I appreciate her a lot because she makes me realize how beautiful it can be, where she is that person that she taught herself how to play bridge, and she plays in bridge competitions now.
Yeah,
And then
that's
she has like one
cool.
every Wednesday and she'll tell me about it. And then like she reads a lot and she's always bringing me new things that she learned. And I'm just
Mhm.
like, you are a wealth of knowledge at this point. You are just a walking encyclopedia. You know so much stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because like she was a RN, and so now she's like learning more about holistic healing as well. And it's like to put those two parts of her brain together, where she came from this and now she's learning this, and like the things she'll tell me sometimes I'm like, you get so much time to learn all this stuff and it's so cool. And I'm like,
Yeah.
she just makes me realize how cool it can be, and like all these new things that she's learning and trying and doing.
Well, yeah, and I think it's great because I think like because we are living longer, we really do have to like lean into that kind of embrace it, right? Like because A, none of us are getting out of here alive, and B, aging, everybody's doing it. Like, we need to teach our young people how to age very well. And then this goes out to the people that are, uh, older than I am. Like, you have to reach out to them and really help them like go through this, because we're all heading for that. Like, none of us are going to, it's a privilege to grow old, because I know that you and I have both have friends and family that never made it past 25 or
Yeah.
made it past 35, or so on and so on. And every day you get to be on this earth, you really do get to choose what you want to do with it. And I think we forget about the magic in life about that, right? Like, we get trapped and bogged down and stuff like that. And really, if we take a breath and kind of like calm down a little bit and realize that stuff that you can't change is not something that you don't need to focus your energy on, we're
Right.
really focusing on stuff that really matters in the long run.
Yeah, it's almost like getting caught in like a weird in between where or like the like a lost lands area where it's like you're you can't reverse time, but you're still stuck on the fact that you want to. And it's like this weird foggy place where it's like that's where your focus goes and like you could be doing so much more and like becoming so much more and unbecoming so much more, like shedding
Hmm.
these layers. And I understand it's hard, especially with like the way the beauty industry is. Trust me, we're in it. We know it's really hard. And people
Hmm.
always ask me, like, what's your favorite color to do? And I'm like, honestly, it's taking people back to like their natural salt and pepper blended gray is one of my favorite
Hmm.
experiences I've gotten to be a part of because showing women that they can still be beautiful with their natural hair is so cool. It's such a cool, like, what do I want to say? It's like when you cut your hair off because when you think that you need it. What's that called? Uh,
Um,
there's a word. It's like a release. It's like you're shedding that off, like you don't need it anymore. It's like the standard.
I don't know what that word is. I don't know.
I know, right? It's like right there. It'll probably come to me later, but
Right, right.
it's really
No,
awesome to watch people do that.
well, especially coming into their power and stuff like that. Like, I'm not here to tell you what the next trend is. Like, I'm not that hairdresser. You'll have to go to somebody else, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you what I think is going to look good on you so much. What I'm
Hmm.
here to do is facilitate a way for you to express yourself in the best way. And I think that's why you and I have a hard time in the beauty industry, because it's not about, for us, beauty is being the most authentic person, and what that looks to
Yes.
you and what that looks to me and what that looks to, whoever. Like,
Hmm.
that's what's most important for us, is for you to be able to freely express what you need to express in this world. And that's what we facilitate. We're like, I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, this bob's gonna be great.
Liberation. That's the word I was looking for.
Liberation. There
It's
we
like
go.
it's liberating to do these things that it's that release and that liberation from the beauty standard, and this is what people say I should do to look beautiful. And you're right, it's really hard because I just want you to feel the best way that you can possibly feel about yourself regardless of
Right.
beauty standards, regardless of what
Right.
others may think. And so like yeah, you're right, it's really hard to watch because when you really care about people, man, it's like I want to shake people sometimes in the kindest way
Yeah.
and with the the most love in it and say, "Why do you care?"
Right. Right. And I know that we catch ourselves too, that we're like get stuck in caring about stuff that we really shouldn't like care about. And it's super easy to fall into that like pattern, that river, because it's already flowing, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's kind of comfortable to be. What I've been working too a lot on is my inner critic, and how loud it is about
Mhm.
everything. Like, even like last night we had a class, and one of the instructors really like, he triggers me all the time. Like, I'm not good. He went on a whole thing about talking about these words that I had no idea what it meant. Like, he was like using it as a metaphor, but his metaphor was way above my pay grade. Like he was talking about a thesis and a non-thesis and how it comes together and becomes something else. And I'm like, okay, like contact clues, I can kind of get it. Like this is a positive, this is a negative, and then you make something in the middle or something. But like the words you're using, sir, I have no idea. So he really triggers me because I feel like, and I can't find out if it's me projecting or if it's like, but that inner critic is so loud after I talk to him. It's so loud. Like I'm not doing it good. I go back to this point right now of like, why am I doing this? This is the big question that I'm asking right now is why am I doing this? What good is it? What good is all of this stuff for?
Hmm. I feel like that alone, just asking yourself more questions as you keep going through this time warp we call life.
Right.
um, Asking yourself questions all the time, it helps a lot. It helps you keep that state of reevaluation at all times so that you can keep becoming, you can keep just flowing with the way your life's going and the things that you know you do and don't want to be doing, you know. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's so important. Like ask yourself questions more like you're doing, Nicole. Like, is this me? Is it them? If it is me, what the fuck is this?
Right,
And if
right.
it's them, god damn it.
Well, and that's what, because I don't know, like being an empath, I definitely, and I hate saying that, but like, um, being very aware of, I really thought about this last night because we are going into air, and a lot of it was like, a lot of stuff that he was talking about, I was like, I'm so aware of all of the things. Like he would say stuff like, whether you bite your nails or if you touch your face. And it's funny because I was both biting my nails and touching my face.
And you
So
were
I
like,
was like, I feel so seen. I go, but I also was thinking at the same time, like, I know I'm choosing to bite my nails, right? Like, I didn't just bite my nail to bite my nail. I bite my nail because I'm choosing to bite my nail right now. I touch my face because I'm choosing to touch my face.
ugh, making me, my face is itchy. I'm very hyper aware of
Right.
my face right now.
Well, I'm like, because I don't know what it is about it, but like I sit there and go, if I'm learning, I have to have my learning face on. So that means I have to touch my face because I am concentrating on, I don't know why. Like,
I
the
do that
thinking
too.
statue, like I
Yeah, I
have
do
to,
that too. Or I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
it's
No,
almost
this
like I
is
have to rest my face somewhere so that my face doesn't make me distracted from what you're saying.
right,
That
right.
makes
Like I'm
sense.
trying to like, I have to touch my face. I touch my face because it's aesthetically pleasing that I am thinking. It's it's a verbal cue that I am thinking.
Also, like, sir, I'm probably biting my nails because I'm all I can think about is how nervous I am because I don't know what the you're talking about right now. And
I
I'm
have no
scared
idea
you're
what
gonna
you're
call me
talking
out.
about.
So
Right.
I'm a little nervous. Just let me do it. It's helping me be like, how do I solve this? How do I get through this right now?
Well, then it's like, yeah, that's the whole thing is like, I'm really good at usually being like, sir, what does that mean? I have no idea what you just said, but like, he was so good at what he was talking about, whatever it was that it meant, that I didn't want to interrupt the flow and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, whatever. I'll just chalk that up to a loss. Like,
You're like, wasn't for
uh,
me.
I'm like, good for you. Good for you for being so effing smart. I don't even know what you just said. That's how smart you are. Because
I
I
mean,
can't.
really, truly, the amount of times in this journey that we've been on, even in past classes, that I've heard something that I'm like, sure, whatever that means.
Right.
It's ridiculous. And then at later times, once I start leveling up more, I can understand. But when you talk PhD and I'm at basic math, I have no idea what the hell you're saying, man.
Right. I'm like, I'm over here going, does that start with a T?
Could you spell that for me, please?
I'm
Uh,
sorry. I'm going to need the definition of all that.
could you give us a definition without using the word in it?
Can you spell that?
I need to Google that. I have no idea what you just said.
It's old. Oh, it's so hard and so frustrating sometimes. And I get it. Like, now, and I think this is what will help with me with aging is the fact like I've already been through earth grade and now I'm going through air, right? Which is basically the same thing, just air, different element, different thing, but I know the process, right? So even like with aging, I know some of it's going to be hard, right? But I also know that I can learn and become my next being through a little bit of this hardship.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit easier to go through these hardships. So yes, like if I have a heart attack or if I get some disease, like I know that it's something that is valuable for me to either learn or look at or to change my life because I didn't look at it before it manifested, right?
Yep.
That's so, but it is there to make me stronger and make me a different person. It's forcing me to change in a way. And, we have choices on these parts too. We can either fight it or surrender to it. So,
Mm.
and I think that's a big thing is remember to surrender when you can. And I know we hate that. We hate surrendering.
Sometimes it's kind of nice.
It is. It
It's
is.
like
And you have
not
to come to
fighting
that
it.
point. Right. You have to come to
Yeah.
that point where you fought it till you're tired because once you're tired, it's so much easier to surrender. And
Hmm.
it's easier to surrender because you tried all of it. Right. Like I tried fighting it. That didn't work. I tried doing this. It didn't work. I tried this and I tried all this stuff. And I guess the only thing I'm left with is surrendering. But I think sometimes we forget how powerful surrendering can be.
Yeah, and I think that goes along with what I was going to say. What's been helping me through it, just even aging, and I'm very aware I'm young to many people, old to some, don't care.
I can tell you this
But
right now. It doesn't matter how old you are because I've heard that my entire life. Oh,
yeah,
you're young. You're gonna learn. You're gonna step in line eventually. We don't step in line.
no, 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 no. Um, but what goes along with that too is I feel like what's really been helping me throughout all of life is learning how to trust myself and learning how to trust the universe, like really relying on myself and the universe to like not let other people's opinions or their own feelings about something override what I'm doing in my life
Mm-hmm.
because they have a pain behind it or they have a this behind it. Like a good example for me specifically is my choice to not have kids throughout life.
Mm-hmm.
It really does get to some people, and learning to not take on their own opinions or their own wants in life as my own has been really helpful to me. And like I've learned to really trust myself and my feelings on that. And like
Yeah.
just as like a quick example, because there's always like people that'll be like, well, you're going to change your mind one day or something. There's always something. And that's been really helpful as I've gotten older too, is just the more that I've learned about myself, the more that I trust myself and decisions
Mm-hmm.
that I make. And it's been, that's really helped where it's like, gosh, it's made me realize like the older you get, the more you know.
Well, and what people don't understand too, I feel like, especially with decisions like that, is like, yeah, maybe I will, but
So what if I do?
I'm still gonna be okay with making the decision that I'm making right now.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Like,
Hmm.
so what if I regret it at the end? I'll work through that too. Do
Right.
you know what I mean? Like a lot of people, say that stuff because that's their own stuff and they're projecting on you, right?
Yeah.
And my question, because like a lot of people come to me and ask, what are you going to do when you're 80? Because I have all these tattoos, right? And,
Yep.
my first smart ass answer is I'll be 80.
Mine would be look cool as fuck.
Well, what 80-year-old do you know that doesn't have a sweater on, first of all? So
True.
most of the time they're going to be covered up. And really, I go, you know what they're going to do is cover up the fucking bruises I'm going to have because people people are always poking you with needles.
Yeah.
So really, like, I'm good with like who cares at 80?
I'm gonna look so cool because I'm probably also gonna be like a fucking weed smoker, nicotine smoking old lady with wrinkly tattoos everywhere, and my cool ass glasses, and I'm gonna just be sitting there. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna look so cool
with
on
our
some,
cats.
yeah, some park bench with all the doves around me, and I'm just freaking chucking crackers out for them. And like, people are gonna be like, whoa. I wonder what she's gone through in life. She looks so cool. We should go say hi.
All right, right.
Come on, man. You're gonna be over there talking to every animal, and they're gonna be like, "What are they saying? Are you talking to the? Are you like, what are they saying?"
What are
You're gonna be
you
like, "Yeah, I talk
doing?
to the animals.
I talk to the animals.
I talk to the trees."
Everything. I talk to everything. Now it's funny because I always thought that was funny. And I'm like,
Mhm.
you know, so what? At some point in my life that I regret my tattoos. So what? I'm supposed to live my life without regret. I mean, like, I get that saying because they print it on t-shirts, but like, I know I can at least look at it, transmute it, and move on. Do you, so like to me, like if you sit there, like whatever you decide to do today, you do have to live with those decisions, right? And that's okay.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with those. I made that decision. And whether I regret it or I enjoy it, and it might, just like everything else, go in cycles. So, like, yeah, I'll visit that when that comes. But right now, I'm not regretting anything, right? Like,
it's so funny because there's this T-shirt I want to get that I saw, of course, on an Instagram friggin' ad, and it
yeah.
said the T-shirt says tattoos are dumb. The oxymoron of me wearing that would be
Well,
hilarious.
that's like my daughter wearing, Trinity wearing I Love MILFs t-shirt.
It's just so funny. Like, oh my gosh, that's just it. You're exactly right. You make decisions, and like I say that all the time. Like, so what if I chose not to have kids my whole life? If I want a kid, I'll adopt. I'll figure it the
Right.
fuck out.
I'll
Like,
figure it
I
the fuck
mean,
out. You
god
can
dang,
borrow
dude.
Trinity.
I already feel like I kind of have kids sometimes. Random
Right.
people that I
Right.
take under my wing, and I'm like, you're now my baby, and we're gonna fucking figure this out together. And like, it's like, dude, if you keep it so, I think that's another thing too, is when you keep your mind very open to different experiences, you realize you're getting the same experience as somebody else, just in a different form.
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, I have a little sister, and I'm getting the experience of having a close little sister who's not really my little sister, but chosen
Mm-hmm.
family. I'm getting
Right.
the experience of having a mom that loves me and talks to me like a mom would and gives me the support a mom would,
Mm-hmm.
while also having a best friend in the form of you. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just chosen, and it's like it's no different than the love I
No.
have for you is no different than the love I had for my mother.
Right.
I'm just as comfortable with you as I was with her, where it's like I can tell you things, and yeah, sometimes I'm scared to tell you things because yeah, I also experience what a healthy mom does, and where it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's like I get those same experiences, and when you keep that openness as you go through life, you start to realize, like, holy shit, I got that experience. It's just in a way different way
Right.
than you did, but I got that same feeling.
Yeah, so that it's like people, it is like a closed mindedness, I guess, because, or even like a misperception,
Yeah.
because when people when they've had a different experience and lived in a different world, even, because I'm experiencing this right now, is where I feel like the world I used to know is not the world that I have now, right? Like, so when I go out side of my normal, like especially like eyeglass place, right? Like how much society has changed out there and how weird it is. Like, wait a minute, this is not how the last time I went to the eye doctor, it wasn't like this.
Yeah.
Or the last time I went to the vet, it wasn't like this. Why is it so combative all the time? Like, even go to the hospital was interesting too, because like we see all the social media stuff, right? And it's like um about all the things that nurses have went through, and you feel bad for them because I'm a good person. And so now I'm at the hospital and I'm like, how do I navigate this without being an asshole? And everything I do is going to be an asshole. So now I'm like, what do I do? Like I'm almost at a place where I'm like, I don't know how. So I noticed that, like, ask questions. How do you want me to do this? Because I don't want to use you as a waitress Like, yeah, I know you're not a waitress. You're doing things that are saving people's lives. I get it, but also grandma needs food and I'm stuck.
Hmm.
Like it's just so I get it to a point also is like the world they grew up in and they used to know is no longer there. And that makes it hard to navigate too, because you're almost, I don't understand why everybody's yelling.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say that's also something that comes with like the healing process as you
Yeah.
keep going through life too, is like the more you do your own healing work, man, the less you start caring or the less you keep caring. Because honestly, you like the woman said, you literally have start to have giving no F's to give. So then everything is a
Yeah.
lot easier in that respect where it's like, hey man, if I gotta wait 20 minutes for you to be able to cash me out because you're doing a return, I don't care. Yeah, I
Right.
don't care. If
I
I'm
don't
gonna be
care.
if I'm gonna be late, I'll text you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If I'm going to, I don't know, wait for an hour and a half for my food to get to my table. Hey man, you're busy. It's okay. I don't care.
Right. You're busy. Like that's not, like it's not and maybe that's the side. It's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is about people that are maybe they're not looking at the reasons why they're angry, and that's why it's like being misdirected and misguided at these places where they can't do they can't change it. That's the way it is, right? Like, so you yelling at the waiter because your food's cold doesn't mean, or it wasn't cooked properly, doesn't mean that it was their fault, but that's who you're yelling at because that's who's at the table. But of course, also yelling doesn't make any difference, by the way.
No, if anything, it makes it fucking harder because then you
Yeah.
also can feel guilty for yelling at somebody. And maybe you
Yes, because
don't. Maybe you
right.
fucking don't. Maybe you yell at somebody and you get satisfaction out of that. Maybe that's you, but
I right, but I feel like it's like a Twinkie almost. It's not fulfilled with anything. It's just this release that like is empty and hollow, right? Because you're gonna have to yell at somebody else again because it's not a sustaining feeling,
yeah.
right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. This is a question that I've asked many times over my lifetime is like, man, I feel like when I get older, I'm just going to be one of the most patient people ever because I'm already getting more patient as I keep going, the less
Mm-hmm.
that but I've also done a lot of work to get there too, right? Where things just don't bother me or hit me anymore as much as they used to. But I've always wondered like why old people get less patient as they get older when they have all the time in the damn day to just do whatever they got to do. Because like
Mm-hmm.
my grandpa's pretty patient too, unless it's like something that like gives him anxiety, I've noticed. But like
Yeah.
my grandma's not a very patient person sometimes. And so I'm like, dude, I say it to her all the time. I'm like, Grandma, what are we doing after this? And she's like, well, nothing. And I'm like, so then why do we care that it's taking a couple extra minutes? Why do we care?
Right, right.
And it like gets her thinking because she's like, damn, I guess I don't know why I care. And it's like the whole yelling thing, the whole patience thing. Like, I think
Yeah.
that as the time goes on, if we do more work on ourselves and we really start looking into these things about ourselves, like the anger, the impatience, you
Right,
start
right.
caring less because you've healed it.
Right. Because I definitely feel like impatience almost feels like, at least for my view, is that patience almost feels like I'm not getting, like there's a lack. There's a lack feeling in that. Like I'm either not going to get what I need or I'm going to miss it.
Mm,
Or like it has this feeling of like, or you're just being like, I automatically think that you're trying to keep something from me.
yeah.
And it's a weird feeling. So it's like you have to go through those three feelings to really get into patience of like, okay, why am I impatient? Why do I feel this way? What good is it going to do?
Hmm.
What is me being impatient helping the situation?
Right.
Because maybe there is a incident where impatience does help.
True.
But I don't, I guess I don't really know those situations, but
I guess like same. Maybe there are well, we can't say there are times when yelling helps, right? There it's
right,
needed, it's necessary, but
right.
I do think there could be a lot less of both impatience and yelling.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, and maybe that's part of the fact of like aging where you start to feel invisible. So then you automatically think that it's almost like you're projecting onto them the things that you're thinking about yourself. And
Yes.
really, they're just a vessel of that, like that manifestation when they're not, all they're doing is trying to make it through themselves.
Right.
Because most part, and I don't know if you think this is right, but like for most part, people are just trying to get by, right? They're just trying to get, they're not trying to hurt you. They they really could give any fucks. I mean, if anything, they're overthinking just like you're overthinking.
Everybody's just trying to do the best that they can with what they have and the best that they can for themselves. I say that a lot.
Yep.
And it's hard sometimes because it's really frustrating. And I get it, you guys. We both do. Like, we both get there too, where it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
What are
what
you
the fuck are
doing?
you doing?
What are
And
we
it's like
doing?
they're just doing the best they can with what they have and the best thing that they think is the best for themselves. Wow, that was the best, the best, the best, the best, best, the
Yes,
best.
because of the wonderful things he does. Du-du-du-du-du-du. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Oh, the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, the Wizard of Oz. One of my clients was telling me about the Wizard of Oz too, by the way.
Oh God.
Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, it sounds like something we should watch because it's when Dorothy was young, but something happened to Oz and it sounded like a fever dream, really,
Oh.
but it sounded like something that we would be interested in. So I was like,
I didn't even know they made it to.
I didn't either. I did not either. Let's be honest, I had trauma from the Wizard of Oz, anyways, because those
Oh my
flying
God.
monkeys, man. As a child, I was like, if those come for me, I'm yeeting myself out of here. That is so scary.
Oh my God. Do you know the only thing I was really scared of was Jaws?
Jaws
Oh
also
yeah.
can't do
Jaws.
open ocean sharks. Ugh.
Jaws. Well, I thought Jaws was going to come through the toilet. I thought Jaws was going to be in the lake. I thought Jaws was like going to be in a puddle. Like it scared me that much where I was like
Mhm.
irrational about like it's going to come up through the thing and because I have a very active imagination.
As do I. One of my active imagination fears lately that's completely irrational. And I know it as soon as it hits. It's not like a big possibility. But we live on the first floor and we're kind of like in the ground a little bit. And I'm like, what if the building just like
Collapsed.
came in? Sometimes I'll be laying in bed and I'm like, man, there's 2 floors above me. And if that fell in, is there anything in here that would help me stay alive? And I'm like, that's so irrational.
Yeah, you just get beside the bed.
Yeah, right. Hopefully my metal frame bed will help. And I'm like, but then I have to start thinking about all the beams in place and all the shit in place that makes a house. And then I realize like all the construction that went into making my apartment. And then it turns into something usually much better and more thankful and appreciative. But man, those irrational fears will get you. I thought that too in the lakes,
Oh
by the
yeah.
way. When I was a
Yeah.
kid, oh, I hated being in the deep end and I loved to swim. One time,
Yep.
my cousin and I, we swam the whole lake back and forth, and I was terrified the entire time. I was
The
swimming
entire
so
time.
fast.
Oh my God. I think we were up north at Kingston Lake and I got out kind of far. And again, we're in a lake and yes, there are animals in there, but it's so funny how when I was a kid, I never thought about like stuff in the lake biting me or whatever. And now I'm like in there, like trying to be like,
Yeah.
I'm cool.
Lakes
I'm
that I
having
can
fun. I'm having fun.
lakes that I can see the entire edge around me, I feel good. Lakes that are really big, like Lake Michigan, you're getting my toes in.
Well, yeah, that
And I'm
goes
good.
for the ocean too. Cause like I don't want to swim in the ocean. I know what's in the ocean.
I don't like going in the ocean at all. I I have a deep respect for the ocean and I love a lot of animals in it, but also it's very terrifying to me. I just want to sit and I want to hear it and I want to watch the people in it. Cause like also if there's a shark attack, I want to see that shit.
I'm sorry, but this is good entertainment.
Yeah, somebody help them. It can't be me.
I tell people, I was like, I would rather be in the water with a shark than be in the Africa with lions.
I'll stay in the suburbs.
That was not one of the options, ma'am. Ma'am.
Man,
Oh God.
between those
I
two,
left. I left.
you
Hold
did
on.
leave.
Oh God.
Between those two options, I guess I'm picking the savannah. I really am terrified of the ocean. I don't even want to. And my grandpa really wants me to go deep sea fishing with him when we come down to Gulf Shores because I only have ever helped fished with him off the edge of it, like
Yeah.
on the beach. And
Yeah.
I really can't even bring myself to do that because I'm like,
Oh,
one, I'm
I'll go with him. You tell him I'll
yeah,
go with
there you
him.
go. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
terrified of the ocean. I get motion sick. And if
Oh
we actually
yeah.
catch something that's bigger than me, or I see something, I'm gonna be like panicking the whole time. Like, please get me back on land.
Uh,
And I try to tell him, like, it's just not gonna be a good time for you.
no, because I will make it everybody's business that it's not a good time for me.
I'm like, listen, you're not
What
gonna
is
enjoy that as much.
your grandpa is not thinking this through.
No, he laughs about it every time
Oh,
because he
okay,
finds
good.
it funny. And I think it's because he knows.
Yeah.
He
You tell
just
him I'll
finds
go
it
with
funny.
him. I'll go with him.
Oh, my grandpa loves you. He would love that.
I would puke over the side for him.
Hopefully, if it ever happened, I just pass out. You could just leave me on the boat of the floor of the boat until we're done.
Nope, I'm just staying here.
I'm just gonna stay here and pretend this is land.
I'm gonna be
Oh,
like like you start watching, what is it, the crab, what deadliest catch, that's what it's called. And you watch the green, what do they call those guys that are newbies? They're green. They're
oh,
green goes. Something about because they're like wet behind the ears. They don't have any
mm,
time. They're
yeah,
new. They're
they're
new.
new.
And you see those poor boys completely white faced, puking everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. That would be
Oh, that
me
would be
right
me.
there.
I wouldn't even be able to be on that. So yeah, I'm gonna take the safari with the lions and I'm gonna be running and screaming like this, screaming, nature's metal. Just crying, puking, pooping,
All of
but
it.
double
Mhm.
finger is nature's
Oh.
fucking metal, and here we are. So I better make it on there.
You'll be running with your camera. This is my final episode. R.I.P.
What a cool, scary, terrifying way to die.
I hope you guys appreciate this.
Seriously. Oh man.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what would be your advice to people aging, especially people that are, what advice would you give to people that are in their teens, in their 20s, like going into their 20s and then 20s, like just entering their 30s? Like, what would you be your best advice, like to that demographic?
Um,
Like, what did you learn so far?
well, that everybody went through the hardship of going from being a teenager to being a young adult and having to take care of yourself. It's not just you. And to be more open with those in your life that you can trust, especially those that are older, and like get advice from them. Don't be scared to talk to them because the likelihood that they've been there is super fucking high.
Hmm.
That was a huge thing for me in my 20s, especially like with you, just things that I have been through in life and all the struggles to get to where I am now is like, um it was nice to have somebody that had been there and see them be on the other side of that, or like still working to get on the other side of that, but being further than me. It was like, okay, cool. It kind of gave me like a pathway where it was like, okay, you've kind of laid the path, and obviously I'm still making my own, but the ghost of your path is there. It's like it gave me a like a light at the end of the tunnel, you know? So
Yeah, like
I
it
always say
wasn't
like
all for nothing.
life's hard, dude. And it's hard for everybody, not just you. So if you can rely on friends and you can find people that actually can give you some really good substance in life, that's huge. And then moving it's 20s to 30s, man, is honestly that quote is it gets fucking better. Do the work,
Hmm.
heal yourself. Don't let anybody
Hmm.
tell you not to, because and just have fun too. Cause like I think that was the other thing that was really hard for me is like coming from a household that was um very chaotic.
Hmm.
Discipline took over to the extreme at some points where
Hmm.
I wasn't having fun. And then finally, when I was able to have fun, I went a
Too
little
fun.
hard. Yeah, we went,
Right.
we went a little hard in there. So I'd say like find time to have fun too, because it's not all about the discipline. And honestly, we're all just big kids. That's the other one.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
You never get that feeling. I'm learning as a 29-year-old turning 30, you never feel like an adult.
Mm-mm.
You just look like one. And that's really, it was like, that was the biggest thing for me that I've learned this last year is like, you never feel like a fucking adult, dude. If anything,
You
I'm
don't.
still screaming, I need an adultier adult.
I need
It's changed from I need an adult because now I am considered an adult. So I need an adultier adult.
yeah, yeah. Like, especially when you walk into a building, I'm like, I don't know what to do. And people are like, oh, you did it wrong. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I need an adult. I don't know what to do. What do I do? Could A, B, it's not labeled A, B, and C.
Yeah. I'm even learning like my older clients, they don't feel like adults. They're like in their,
No.
my
Mm-mm.
grandparents are in their 70s. They've lived a full life, kids, grandkids, now they're great grandparents. They still feel like big kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a bizarre thing that I wish younger people knew.
Maturity. That's the one thing. It's like, I guess some of the stories that I would tell myself is that, when I was 40, all my problems will be like, I thought it got easier as I got older, right? Like, oh, I won't have to deal with this when I'm older. Oh, my life will be so easy when I'm older. Like, I
Yeah.
always thought that,
Uh-huh.
which in ways it is,
Right.
right? In ways it is.
Yes.
Um, and of course there's stuff that is harder, um, like dealing with uh I think what's harder is that you're dealing with the same people. Some people are dealing with the same people that you've dealt with, your whole life. And I don't know where I'm going with this really, actually. I lost my train. I lost my train.
Well, I think yeah, the one advice, the biggest thing is like don't focus on too much on being like, oh, when I'm 30, I'll feel like an adult. It's like, dude, no, you're doing the adulting by the time you're out of your house and doing it on your own. You're doing the adulting. It's just you start to stack in more info that makes you feel better about making decisions. But like the whole idea of quote unquote being and feeling like an adult, let that go. You're always going to feel like a big kid.
Oh God. I mean, I remember the one time, and I was only 19 at the time, but I remember the one time that somebody was like, I was hostessing at Denny's.
Love
And
that.
I sat the people down, and the lady was talking to her kid. And she said something about I don't know. Somehow she called me ma'am, and I was like, oh, "Man, like what?" And then I thought about that for a while, and I was like, "What else is she gonna call you?" Right? Like it's a generic name for like a person, a female
Yep.
person, and I'm like, "What? What is she gonna? Hey, bitch, seat me?" Like that's
Let this old ass lady seat you, okay?
right.
You're 19.
But it was one of those things where you have to like, ha- nobody's ever called me that before.
My big one was not getting carded as much at the bar, and when it hit me and I was like, do I look old enough to not get carded anymore? And then I was like, actually, this is kind of fucking nice. And I gotta go digging in my purse. So it's like that like 50-50 of where it hit me. And then I thought about like, Well, actually, you know what? Why am I even thinking like that? That's actually fucking nice. I don't have to go digging for my ID anymore. I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes I still do, of course, but for the most part, most people just, when I ask for something, you just give it to me. And I'm
they
like,
just give it. That's right.
getting older is beautiful.
Well, yeah, and that's definitely because like I don't have to like dig through my purse or find, these things, and uh it's I don't want to do that stuff either. I don't want to have to I don't want you to bark an order and me have to follow through with it, ugh, to get what I want. Ugh.
Yeah,
I
especially
already do
some,
that enough.
yeah, seriously.
And now you're like, yeah, I'll get my license out.
For a freaking bear. What about
Right.
you? What advice would you give as a 46-year-old?
46. Well, definitely, like, I definitely feel the same age that I've always been. I don't know what age that is, but I definitely I don't know what 46 feels like. I don't know, like, um, I do realize that, like, I'm strong enough for everything I went through. And, the best advice I guess I could give is definitely at this time, you want to really like find out what really makes you happy because I don't think we do that enough. And I don't think we lean into that. We get really quick about like, oh, I need a job. Oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to do this. And you just keep doing this thing. And then you get to my age and then you're like, well, nothing makes me happy and I'm miserable. So now we're on antidepressants and all that kind of bullshit, right? We're so I feel like I was so not prepared for doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
Even though I did, right? Like I do hair and that was great. And I've managed to get to here in the best way possible, right?
yeah.
Um, but what I see is a lot of the times is that you really have to question about I wish I questioned myself more about whether I was doing this for you or for me,
I like that one.
like, and why.
And why? Yeah.
So just those questions, I feel like I wasn't asking enough questions.
Yeah. Also, same, I would agree. Even just now, like in my 20s, I didn't ask questions. We just fucking went with the flow, man.
Mm-hmm.
And even the flow sucks sometimes. We still went with it.
Yeah.
I
Well, and
like
to
that
think of
advice.
like, it just, um, yeah, because even like right now, I'm questioning everything. Like, why am I doing this? What good is it for me to read the Bible? What good, what is it doing in the long run? What am I doing in the long run? What purpose does this bring? Like it's kind of like that stuff.
Why? It's like that kid.
Why?
Yeah, why? But
I'm still
why?
too. Yeah. Oh, and then I also realized that we become toddlers.
All over again.
Yeah. Yep. I felt
Yep.
like my grandma was a toddler. Like I was like, oh my God. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way at all. So
Nope.
I almost think because I want my grandma's life, the rest of her life, to be as peaceful as possible, right? As much as I can make it, right? In my
Right.
own power. But I was noticing that, like, all right, I was planning on, so I went to the hospital the first time and I'm like, okay, so now I'm checking off all the things that I think I need for my next visit. And part of it was she's diabetic and she needs food, but I don't want to necessarily like, I'm trying to be self sufficient at the same time and not bother the nurses. So, what I need is to bring food. So that way, if her sugar drops, we can give her some food. And I'm not trying. So, it was that whole kind of thing of like, just it, again, it goes back to being like when Trinity was a toddler, I had to bring stuff with me,
Yeah.
change of clothes, like stuff like,
Yeah, I get that.
right. So it was very interesting to see that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So note to self, at some point I become a toddler again.
Yeah, it's like a decline up and then a decline down.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's gonna be nice because I feel at this point like I don't mean I'm tired in a bad way. I've just done that. And at this point, because I've done that, I'd rather take a nap.
Yeah,
That's all.
right. I feel like the big theme today is ask yourself more questions as you keep going through life.
Hmm.
Um, play more.
Play way more.
Um, realize that you can't turn reverse time and try to not let the sickness of anti-aging get in because you're
Hmm.
worthy of love is another one. And try to love your body more, man. Start thinking about it more and other than just the superficial ways, like Nicole had said, like your feet are carrying you and holding you up, man. Your hands still work. You can grab things and put them in your mouth. Your mouth still works. Your tongue still
Hmm.
works. Like, start get really when you get into that weird feeling of like being more aware of your body, it helps a lot. It makes you more
Yeah.
appreciative.
Especially your internal organs, which just work on their own,
Yeah.
right? They just
Mm-hmm.
work on their own. And, thank them for doing the work and not
Mm-hmm.
even being seen or heard of, or, they didn't get a plaque because they did this, because your liver works the way it's supposed to work.
Yep.
Your kidneys working nonstop all the time. And that's what they're supposed to do, but they do it and they don't get any gratitude. In fact, if anything, you start to be like, oh, my kidneys, or for
Yeah.
women, my bladder is not working like it used to, or like, and then we start to pick at it.
Yeah.
And each time that's energy that we're putting into it.
Yeah. Your
So that's
body's
all I got.
worthy of love at every stage, man.
Oh my God. I know. It's the other thing is I always was like, okay, so why am I trying to look a certain way for you? Because I love these ones on TikToks about women are they're not in their prime after 35. Did you know that?
Wow, damn.
Right.
We got 4.5 more years over here, man.
Oh,
You're
I should have
you're
been dead.
gone.
I
Yeah,
should
you're
have
dead
been
and
dead.
gone, man.
Yeah. I should have been dead like well, 11 years ago.
Yeah,
I should have
wow.
died. And I thought that was interesting because this is why we have such a hard time as women aging. And men I know have their own set of problems too. Um, but like we're supposed to be this eternal 25-year-old all the time,
Mm-hmm.
or else we have no use whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. It's a
And
very
I
odd
find,
concept.
uh-huh, it's very interesting. And we've talked to women that are like this, right? Like they are always trying to be 25 or look 25 or be cooler, or
It's very heart-wrenching sometimes, to be honest.
it
It
really
is.
is. It really is. And I wish that like I don't know how to start the movement. I don't know what to do about that. Um,
We need an anti-aging, like an anti-ageist model to just walk in and be like, I'm
boom, drop the
75
mic.
and I'm mic drop, bitch.
Mic drop.
Yeah, I don't know how to start it either, but I think that even just planting little seeds over time, it'll keep growing.
Hmm. I talk to my wrinkles too. I tell them that they should come in aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, there you go.
right?
I like that. Also doing like the self-love in the mirror trick. We've talked about that
Yeah.
many of times. Look it up. It's a little spell you can do. It's super easy, but doing that, shit
I
like that will help
also
too.
I also write on my body.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm programming the water or my liquids in my body. So if I'm having a hard time with self-love, I will put self-love on myself to remind
Yeah.
myself to self-love. Self, 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 self,
Self.
self, self-love, self.
Well, friends, I think that might be it.
I think that's pretty good. I think we hit aging just where we needed to hit it.
Yeah,
And if
especially
you are having problems with aging and with doing this, go see somebody, go talk to somebody, go, really read some books on aging and how to do it gracefully or what they, look into it and don't be afraid of it because we're not getting off this train. It's going.
it's fucking going, man.
Mm-hmm.
Either we have a good time and enjoy the ride, or you hate it the entire time, but you're still on it.
You're still on it. You're still on it. So you're not getting off. They won't let you off. They're
They're
not
not gonna
stopping.
ever let you off. No, not until the
No,
end. Not until you hit
no.
the end of the train track. So,
That's right. That's right.
well, I
Well,
think that's a
Fran,
good place to end it.
I can't wait to grow old with you.
Also, say we're gonna look like cool ass old ladies, and Trinity's gonna love it.
We're gonna live at a three attic store or 3-story house. It's gonna be completely black.
So black that at night you can't see it,
Absolutely.
except for the one lantern
You
out
know
by
what?
the door.
I was talking to one of my kids yesterday and I was like, you know what I can't wait to do is to be the retired person at the end of the block with all the cats and stuff. And then at night, stand in the top window in a Victorian outfit and just fuck with people like I am the ghost.
That would be so funny. It's like a version of Halloween Town, and it's just a one house that we're living
It's
in,
just
and like
me.
we walk really slow and mysteriously, and everybody thinks there's ghosts in our house. It's just us as old women.
Fucking with everybody. We'll put on our like night outfits, our Victorian like
Yeah.
gray outfits. We'll be able to do our own makeup at that point,
We'll already
or
have white
we're
hair,
gonna,
so
yeah, I got this down. I've got plans for us, is what I'm
who
saying.
says hauntings have to happen after you're gone?
I
Oh,
already,
that'd be so
I already
funny.
stalk around my house at 2:30 in the morning like I'm a ghost. I'm like, I wonder if this is how ghost stories start because I'm like trying not to like. I've always walked around the house very ghost like.
Yeah, is it a
I
cat
don't
or
know
is
why.
it mom? We don't know.
Right. I knew as a kid, I knew every creek and crevice, every part where my house talked, I knew where it was. And I like would tiptoe. It was like Mission Impossible style.
My lord.
I don't know why. I'm weird. I'm a weird
Trauma.
kid.
You don't want to
Trauma.
wake your parents up.
I didn't want to wake my parents. That's
It's
what it
called
was.
trauma.
It's called trauma.
That's trauma. You knew where every creek in your house was. That's called trauma.
Yeah, I did. I knew where every creek. I knew how to get up the stairs without making them.
Yeah, that's trauma, buddy.
Hey, I didn't say I was untraumaful.
No, we all are. All right, friends, let's see really quick here what our next episode is about. So we can give you guys a little heads up, sees. Oh, that's right. The internet is
Unstable, like me.
yeah, I was gonna say sometimes my internet decides that it's gonna be a brat from now on. Oh, that's so exciting. Our next one is about death.
Ooh, I'm on that mode too. Death and
Ooh, I'm
dying.
excited about that one. We got
Ooh,
some
buddy.
we got some ideas that will blow your mind, man.
Oh my God. So we went from aging straight to death.
Yes. Yes, we sure did. And
We're so gothic.
we are. We just keep getting more goth as time goes on. We're talking about freaking haunting a house at what, 70?
I can't wait.
Me neither. All right, peeps. Well, we'll catch you in the next one. We hope you guys had a good time listening. And yeah, we love you guys.
Yeah. Age gracefully.
Age fucking gracefully. All right.
Hmm.
Peace out. Bye.
Peace out. Bye.